Hey everyone, I just wanted to make this video because I wanted to talk a little bit about Dragon Ball. Just the series as a whole. Everything Dragon Ball related, I guess. And how I feel about it. Now, this video just might seem, I don't know, I guess out of place or certainly different, if anything. But I'm pretty sure those of you that are in the Dragon Ball space in general, pretty sure you have all heard of the unfortunate news of Akira Toriyama has passed away. And it just feels surreal. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel real. I figured I don't know. I honestly don't even know if I'm going to upload this. At this point, I think I'm just venting or just throwing throwing like words at the wall or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'm doing here. But I'm kind of like hit with a lot of emotions, I guess. Simple as that. I think it's because just like with my history with Dragon Ball in general, it's not like insanely interesting or that deep, but it's, well, just my experience, I guess. I just don't know how to put it into words. Dragon Ball is just a well-beloved anime series in general. A franchise, I don't know what to describe it as. I guess the best word I can put it as an art. It's just such a beloved art that a lot of people around the world share in. Dragon Ball has made such a huge impact in the world. Honestly, thinking about it now, just like, sure, it's kind of there in your face, but we just kind of like gloss over it. But genuinely just thinking about it, a series that has transcended years. It's hard not to find a single fan of Dragon Ball. I guess what I'm trying to get across is, it's just as simply as put, Dragon Ball is timeless. I've come to realize that now. There are so many walks of life that love Dragon Ball. And for many, and I'm assuming for some of you, if not maybe all of you, Dragon Ball was a big part of your childhood, of your upbringing. It influenced you, motivated you, and possibly driven you to the person you are now. Like I said before, my experience with Dragon Ball, it's nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. I just find it funny just looking back on my history with Dragon Ball. Because as a kid, growing up watching Dragon Ball, then eventually watching Dragon Ball Z, I loved it. It was just really cool. It was like the coolest thing I've seen growing up. Like transformations, aliens, beam clashes, insane like power, super sped up fights that I couldn't keep track of who was hitting who. Like, you know, because at the time I'm just like flabbergasted of how are they moving so fast. Like, it just blew my mind. Obviously, just as a kid, I was just like, that's crazy. It's just that I'm pretty sure as kids we all did the same thing. We all tried to shoot a Kamehameha out of our hands. Some of us are still trying to this day, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I still try to fire a Final Flash every now and then. I just like doing the post so much. Dragon Ball just had so many cool moments and really awesome characters. Like, it's crazy because everyone has their favorite. Obviously, everyone has their favorite. People like Goku, people like Vegeta, people like Gohan and Piccolo. Hell, even some people like Yamcha. My favorite character in all of Dragon Ball, in its entirety, has always been Android 16. Always. His character, I just fell in love with his character. And I always just thought 16 was cool. He looked cool. He was huge, like really big dude, menacing, but a gentle giant, you know? It's funny because even to this day, I'm still upset that they brought back 17 and 18, but they never brought back 16. I'm still upset about that. I'm not gonna lie. Another thing about Dragon Ball are all the insane fights and moments. And obviously everyone has their own favorite too. My favorite is and probably will always be Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Teen Gohan, going up against Cell. Just that whole sequence, the build up to him transforming and fighting him. It was just so sick. I still remember just being just in awe of that whole sequence. It was so cool. Let me know what your guys' favorite characters or fights or scenes from the series. Let me know. I genuinely want to know. It's funny because at some point in my life, as an adolescent teen, I ended up falling out of love of Dragon Ball in general. I think because I believed myself to be more mature than others. I know, like, just, it's stupid looking back on it, I had this mindset of like, if it's popular, I'm not into it, you know? Like, I thought I was like super unique and shit like that. It's literally that meme where everyone loves one thing and there's always that one person that says I hate it, and then it's just they're branded with I'm unique in quotations. Like, that's literally the mindset I had as a teen. Like, and I remember so many people talking about Dragon Ball, like just Dragon Ball this, Dragon Ball Z that, who's the best villain, Frieza, Cell, Kid Buu, all that stuff, who's the better Saiyan, Goku or Vegeta, like all that shit. And I would at the time genuinely just be annoyed because I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear about Dragon Ball, didn't want to talk about the series, nothing like that. And it's funny because I got to the point where I refused to watch more Dragon Ball Z, because as a kid I only ended up watching the entirety of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z to the Cell arc. So in my teen years I refused to watch Majin Buu Saga. I remember people talking about Super Saiyan 3 and Majin Buu, Kid Buu, Tabora, all these like characters and moments. At the time I was like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I think it's stupid. Dragon Ball's dumb. Dragon Ball's shit. Like, it was just like stupid to me at the time. Because again, I thought I was being so mature and different and I was just being stupid, honestly. Trying to fool myself, honestly. And it got to a point where I genuinely started believing that. Like, it went up to literally like around, like near my early 20s, where I was still like, Dragon Ball shit. I hate it. I don't like it. Like, I refuse to watch it and all that. And it wasn't until maybe I until I was 24, 25 that I ended up loving the series again. And it's funny because it kind of comes full circle, because what got me back into Dragon Ball in general was Dragon Ball FighterZ. Dragon Ball FighterZ kind of reignited and reminded me like the enthusiasm, just everything I loved about Dragon Ball, the fights, the cinematics, like everything about Dragon Ball FighterZ literally reminded me everything about Dragon Ball. The characters, the villains. It's also just another thing I find funny is that video games can open doors for you. But yeah, after playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, I started thinking back on like everything I remember from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. And I still remember when I found out about Dragon Ball Super, I was still in that mindset again of like, it's stupid. I'm not going to watch it. I think it's dumb. Oh, they got red hair. Now they have blue hair. What's it called? Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. That's so stupid. Like, I still remember that. And I remember playing FighterZ, obviously seeing some characters from Super, like Hit and Beerus. And after playing FighterZ for such a long time, that's when I decided to, I should probably give Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z a watch. These fights are really cool. These characters are doing really cool shit. I might as well give it a watch again. And I went back to pretty much the crucial and key moments I remember from the series, a bunch of the fights, just the character stuff, like a bunch of things. I remember because of FighterZ, I ended up finding a lot of other YouTube content creators that covered the game. And funny enough, that's how I ended up finding Darodoya. And through Darodoya, I ended up finding Rhyme Style and Siriax. It's just funny because it's just a never-ending chain of like people that love this series. Because of Rhyme Style, I ended up finding Nanogenics. Because of Nanogenics, I found Diddy Sauce. And because of Diddy Sauce, I found Truth. And because of Siriax, I ended up finding Lotus. And after seeing them just talk about and gush over Dragon Ball, I decided to go back and try to get into Dragon Ball again. And so I did that. I ended up watching Dragon Ball Z and watching Dragon Ball Super. And during my watch session, I found myself getting into it, getting hype. Just simple as that, just getting into it. And I remember when I was watching Super for the first time, just enjoying the fights, enjoying the villains, just seeing everything in it. I was actually genuinely pumped up and excited. Seeing the transformations, the new forms, and the new characters, the new universes, Beerus. Like, I remember just watching all of it and getting into it, and then going out of my way to look into what people were talking about, or what they thought of Super and everything that came after. It was an experience. I'll give it that. And I know Super is not for everybody. I understand that. But once I finished watching Super, I realized that, holy shit, I still love Dragon Ball. it made me realize that Akira Toriyama ended up creating something just, I don't know what word I can use to describe it. If anything, I don't think there's a single word that can give it justice. If anything, it's unique. Yeah, I think that's the right word. Unique. Feels right. He ended up creating something that is loved by, if anything, almost everybody. Practically everybody. Millions. There's so many people around the world that love Dragon Ball, where people legit have arguments over just Dragon Ball theories, Dragon Ball power scaling, characters, who can beat who, all that stuff, to the point where people just like talking about Dragon Ball. I can't imagine the feeling Toriyama must have felt knowing that so much of the world loved this creation. I can't even imagine that. As an artist, you would hope just a couple of people would love your creations. But to have something you created be loved by millions, that's just insane. Like, I could never, honestly. That's honestly something special. And I'm regrettably realizing that now. Like, I knew Dragon Ball was unique and special, but I never realized the weight of it all until now, after seeing how many people open up and talk about their experience of Dragon Ball, their love of Dragon Ball, just everything. It's really special. I know this video is a different vibe than what you're used to on my channel, but I figured I don't know. As I said, I don't even know if I'm going to be putting this up, but if I do, just wanted to get my thoughts out on the matter. And like I said before, my relation to Dragon Ball in general is not anything special or unique. I just wanted to say my piece. It's funny because growing up and watching the series and eventually leaving the series and then coming back to it again as an adult, I can confidently say if I wasn't sure I was a Dragon Ball fan before, I know now. To Akira Toriyama, I say thank you and rest in peace. And may we see you in Otherworld. Later, everyone.